sure everything's working before I start. I do this at the start of every show. I think every show I edit out me saying, okay, push that. Now go over here. Press this.
It's on YouTube.
It's working. It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All that stuff. It's always live. Okay, that's rolling. This is rolling. That's rolling. That's rolling. Make Jackson nice and big so people can see him. Okay. I haven't, I do have to confess something to you, Paul.
What?
I haven't tweaked the music yet. Well, hey there. The Packfiller podcast is about to begin. You can always follow the show through Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook if you're still into that sort of thing. The show is streamed live every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific on our Packfiller Productions YouTube channel, as well as on the Podbean app. You can call the show directly from Podbean and chat along in the discussion on both platforms. Now let's get to the Packfiller podcast. And before beginning, Goodr sunglasses, people. Style, fit, function, and affordability. Not only do you get polarized lenses and no-slip frames, but you also get style. A good joke now and then, all wrapped into a budget that allows you to buy a shitload more. You could throw a pair to the fans if you wanted to. You could be that kind of a person. We aren't the UCI. You could wear a different pair for every stage of a weekend stage race if you wanted. The ideas are freaking endless. Check out Goodr.com today. Team members, if you're a team member, you're getting a free pair in May, and that window's closing. And if you are a team member, I actually might take photos of the sunglasses and allow you to pick your style of the flavors we have. I said flavors. Also, thank you to Scratch Labs and Athletic Brewing, the perfect during and post practices for yours truly. No, really, I sucked down Scratch during the ride to keep me going, and Athletic after a while. I'm checking out my Strava PRs. I posted that the other day. My post-ride ritual is to open an Athletic, sit in my dining room table, put my feet on the table. My wife doesn't even get mad at me, and I check out my PRs. You know, that's the glory I'm living in, man. I'm not fucking around. I get to do that. She gives me the look, but I'm like, it's my table too. Then she goes, "You're an idiot." I go, "I know."
Tell me something I don't know.
Duh. No fucking shit. Hey, let's do this. Monday, April 19th. The weather's getting warmer. I have sunburn on my calves. The beers are poured, and it is Molly Day. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. With me are, once again, the members of the Packfiller. First and foremost, according to your comments, he's the star from last week's show, as well as the true source for cycling curmudgeonry on the Packfiller, Mr. Paul Death Before Disc Maine. How are you, man?
I guess I'll be dying soon.
Second, just coming off a successful run as Professor Plum in the stage virtual performance of Clue, as well as soon-to-be college graduate, Mr. Barbag himself, Jackson Bulger. How are you, dude?
Yes. Hello. What a lovely introduction. And yes, as I commented on the Facebook post, this is the way when it comes to handlebar.
This is the way. This is the way. Third, I'm going to say this even though he's not here, because I never know if he's going to show up or not. I'm writing this the morning before the show date. This is what I'm actually writing. I'm writing this the morning before the show date, so I'm not sure if he'll be here or not, but he's probably got some lessons to hand out to all of us in regards to spring weather on the west side of the state. Welcome, Mr. I Told You So, Jack Broadhead. Oh, but he's not here. Yeah, but he's not here. Because I think the weather was good over the training camp weekend when we were supposed to go, but we didn't. Lastly, I'm the guy who pushes the buttons, makes socks and mugs, and licks every stamp that Team Packfiller receives. How about that for a visual? I'm Mr. Too Many Toys, Pat Bulger. Hi, Pat. Hi. Hey, let's start with some congratulations. It doesn't have anything to do with cycling, but I wanted to applaud Sir Jackson Bulger for his role in the most recent performance in Clue. For those of you old like me, you know what Clue is. Fun show, especially if you're old and you remember the game and the movie. Jackson, I asked you this before we went live. First, how's college with the end in sight, man?
It's it's exciting. Sorry, I need to grab my keys. Jimmy's going for him. It's an exciting feeling, you know. It's weird knowing that in little less than 2 weeks' time, well, a little over 2 weeks' time, I won't be doing what I've done since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I won't have to go to school anymore. So it's a little freaky but exciting. Don't exactly know what the future holds, but hell, who does?
Not any of us. Not any of us. I hate to pull back the true reality of adulthood, but it's like we're making this shit up as we go. Anybody who says they don't is lying. Let's be honest, right, Paul?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
A question I have to start every show with: how'd the ride week go, people? Jackson, since we got you as the center of attention, you want to tell us how it went? You had Tech Week, and for those people who don't know the theater world, the week before a show goes up is fucking chaos. It is just long nights. It's absolute lunacy. You can go. Yeah, you can just.
Yeah, so like you said, this week was a pretty busy one, as we saw from last week. My voice was not penetrating your earlobes through your headphones, but it took a lot of time out. But I have learned to prioritize every Tuesday and Thursday is my ride day, except for tomorrow when I'm getting the first one tomorrow.
Oh, you are first shot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, first one tomorrow. So we'll see how Tuesday goes for tomorrow. But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays my ride day, and then my girlfriend and I. It was really nice here in Portland, 80s. So we went out both days on the weekend. Well, Friday and Saturday, but got a lot in. Yeah.
Shit, not bad. And I like that you're prioritizing. You know, you're getting the dates down, and you're getting the shot. So that's going to be interesting. If you're anything like most people, I think it's sore shoulder day.
Yeah, just make sure to rotate that shoulder afterwards to make sure the muscle gets you or whatever.
Pfizer or Moderna, bro? Whatever they got.
Figure that out. It won't be J&J.
Yeah, it probably won't. Paul, how'd your ride week go, man?
It went pretty good.
Yeah?
On Saturday, we had a great one.
Shit, dog, we had a good one.
Yeah, it was good mileage and some elevation there. And
I ended up with 80 something, just over 80, and 1 foot shy of 5,000 feet of climbing.
which I find curious.
I should have just lifted my bike when I got in.
I live farther down the hill.
Yeah.
And I had less. I had like, I think 100 and some feet less than you did. So either Wahoo or Garmin are lying.
I might have been swerving.
You were paperboy on some of the hills.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that.
Yeah, make up that 100 feet.
But give me the 5,000 feet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I will. I'd prefer that. I was going to say you were going to give me one of your old.
I am.
Yeah.
It's right over
is
there.
It the
Don't
Wahoo?
forget.
Is
Yeah.
the one that you just used?
Yeah.
I'll take that one because I get more elevation that way.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a great. We're all switching to Wahoo because it makes us better climbers.
Yeah.
I like it. Any other days?
No. So the following day, I planned on sneaking out. I try and grab a real quick, like 25, 30 miles. But it was my mom's 88th birthday. And there was a few things that I neglected to take care of when we got back from our ride. For some reason, I seemed a little tired. I was thinking I could get it done before the ride, and I didn't. So, and my mom said she's not going to live past 89, so this is her 88th birthday. Jesus. So I had to show up. You know. That's
I'm
my mom.
still wrapping my head around that. Was that a smart ass comment, or is she like, fuck it, I'm
done. Yeah.
Really?
Tapping out. Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know how she can control that, but we'll find out.
You never know.
Stay tuned.
She buys a sports car.
Yeah.
Drives it off.
She has a 03's Subaru. It's got like 300,000, so that might be the way she's going to go.
Probably get 40 to 60 miles an hour before you hit a big cliff or
with
something.
No
like
brakes.
That. Fuck it. Yeah. Shit. Jesus. Well, I did it. Don't get angry. Don't hate on me. I did a Zwift race on Tuesday. And I did it because I'm trying to find race effort for speed work there. That was a burp, in case anybody didn't know it. There's my other one. Trying to find race kind of intensity. And I don't have somebody who will motor pace me or something like that. And so I was just like, okay, those aren't bad. I could probably do those a little bit until the Wednesday night mountain bike series starts here, and I can use that for some intensity. And so I did that on Tuesday, and I do want to say that I won my first Swift race, everybody.
Yay!
I won my first Swift race.
In Group B, too.
In Group B.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not going to mention that there were only 4 people at the start line.
You just did.
Fuck! Mike's on! I did. There were only 4 people in the race, and I was kind of hanging out, and then this is for the Zwifters out there. One guy, he powered up. He did like an aerodynamic power up with like 600 meters to go and just launched. And I don't power up. First of all, because I'm on a Apple TV, and second of all, it's like I'm not playing video game style here. I'm just fucking riding my bike. And so I was sprinting, and you guys, I'm not bragging here, but I caught the dude, and my screen went completely dark like the end of the race, right at the line. I beat him by 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
I did a wout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is he contesting the finish?
I don't know.
He's protesting.
The guy lives in Portland.
Uh-oh.
So, Jackson, somebody's looking you up and pounding on your door going, "Are you the Bulger who beat me, motherfucker?" Something like that. He might be. They're trying to find out. Wednesday, I did weights, and I did yoga on Wednesday.
Good man.
Yeah, and I've got to. After our long ride on Saturday, my back's been sore for like the last 2 days, and I'm like, I got to loosen and stretch and strengthen this shit up. So that was good. I did yoga through the Sufferfest, and I figured out how to do it. I think I told you on the ride, Paul. I figured out that I have to actually stream it from my iPad. I put my iPad on the floor in front of me, and then I stream it also to the TV, which is above me. So no matter what pose I'm in, I can see Abby Carver, the host of the video, and I can keep up with her because my dyslexia, and I'm not making fun of dyslexics. Fuck you. Look it up. I dealt with dyslexia as a kid, so I can claim this. And she's just like, put your right ankle over your left earlobe and twist it to the right with the lefted right. And I'm just going, what? I can't keep up with her, and so I have to look up at her and break the pose, and by then she's on to something completely different, and I can't keep up with it, and so it bums me out. I gotta get to the yoga for cyclists. I gotta do that one a lot more. I think he works a little slower, a little more kind of time in the poses and things like that. Yep. So I think it's good, and I gotta do it. Thursday I did some hill repeats, just nothing too big. And Saturday, that long-ass ride, man, we did, 4.5 hours at least, I think it was.
It was kind of windy.
Yeah, and rode the course for states, which I was really excited. Districts, sorry.
Yeah.
The USA Cycling people are going to yell at me. And that was a great ride, man. It was, like I said, a lot of climbing and kind of fun. And I discovered something over the weekend that if I drink wine the night before a ride, my head gets a little sore, and I don't perform as well as I thought I would. So there's a little lesson for you. You might want to experiment with that, everybody out there.
The Cola brand cola so many times.
Yeah, it's the Cola brand cola. You can just suck those down all night. Hey, Jackson, did you have any advancements on the event promises? Because that was supposed to be last week, but you weren't with us to say the events you were going to sign on the dotted line and do. Or have you not had time?
I mean, of course, time is fleeting, of course.
Sure.
But I think when I'm there in Spokane, I think I want to participate in a Wednesday night race,
cool.
Like a mountain bike race. And then there are some Portland races here that I really want to do. Of course, I haven't put any names on the dotted line yet because they were postponed to May. But yes, I think those will be something because I am someone who gets anxious in those type of settings, and I gotta commit because I've only ever done a race where you've been there, Dad. So
yeah,
I gotta do one by myself. I gotta.
It'll be an interesting dynamic, because I don't know if you're like me, but when I go to a race all by myself and I don't know anybody there, I feel kind of awkward and I'm the kind of person that at any given point in time, if I'm like going, I bet I could get out of here and nobody notice, and I could just leave.
Really?
Do you guys do that?
No.
I've done that before. No. I've been just like,
for other things, not a bike race, though.
Really?
Yeah.
But Okay.
I used to go to bike races not knowing anybody all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Jackson, don't be your father.
No.
Go for it, man.
Oh, please don't be your father.
Please don't be. Enough of that shit.
Yeah. One's enough.
Yeah. I do want to make it known that I said this to you, Paul, in a text, that I have decided that my sole goal in the month of August is to make sure that you get high up in the district crit and road race as humanly possible.
I would put money on that.
I was thinking about that when we were riding, because I said, wait, are we the same age category now? Because I'm used to these 5-year increments. That's how far I've been out of the picture. But it's like, shit, okay, we can actually be teammates on this. You know? And so I was like,
and Jack.
Yeah.
And Keith.
Yeah. It's so... Sorry, Jackson. You don't get to, but you can still race the race, but you can't race with us. But I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna bust my ass off for you. I also want to add a toast before we get to the news. For those of you at the intro, if you were in the scene in the 80s and 90s in Spokane, Washington, you know why I say today is Molly Day. For those unknowing of the legend that was Molly Bulger, she was affectionately, wow, that was a tough word, affectionately known as the bitch behind the bullhorn. I can say this because this was my sister, and she actually took it as a term of endearment, because she would be the one at races with a bullhorn yelling at Davis Finney to put his fucking helmet on or something like that. You know, Davis is like, I want to stage of the Tour de France.
Who are you?
Yeah. Many high-end races in the 80s and 90s. She wore red lipstick that many times matched her boots. She loved calling people jackasses. Her laugh could be heard 3 towns away. She was my sister and occasionally a complete pain in the ass, but that is what sisters are for. So I do want to quickly just say toast to the memory of the one and only Molly Bulger.
Hey.
There we go. Yeah. Hey. Jackson just hit the coal out of the... She's a piece of work. Paul, did you have? I don't know. We don't have to make it too long.
No, it's a couple of the first thing. Like in the last episode, you asked about my past, and she was part of the picture. She was the first person I had contact of my very first race, and I still have. I don't keep any of my, memorabilia. I don't have it too many anyway, but medals and stuff like that. I don't.
What do you saying?
That's just to each their own. But I have one.
The back rat room we're in right now. Yeah.
I have one memorabilia, and it's my first race, and it's dated and signed what place, and it was second place, and it's your sister's handwriting.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Really?
But the other story, and I was meant to bring it, but I forgot. The other story was when we were doing Race Up the Mountain, which a lot of people don't know or know anything about.
Yeah.
It was actually a running race. We did teams going up from downtown Spokane to the top of Mount Spokane, which is like 40-something miles.
I know it's upper 30s. Yeah.
So anyway, I was part of the team, and then it was always around your birthday. So then there was an after party. And she was a great drink mixer. And I came through, and after you run, and my section was 4.1 miles, and it was the last leg going up. Yeah, it's the longest uphill part of Mount Spokane to the summit. And, I was pretty whacked out, and I'm not a runner by any means. And so, you get there, and there's people, and it was a hot day, and she goes, would you like, I think she called it cowboy lemonade or something like that. I don't know.
Was it the mint vodka lemonade that we made?
Must have been.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, I'm down in it like, whew, this is so, quenches your thirst, is a good, and in typical Molly fashion, before I turned around, I had another one. It's like before, like a half hour into it, I've got 4 down my belly, and I'm like, and there's no rewind. You're too far. Yeah.
He's bad.
That whole night, I'm like in the corner going, don't say anything. Don't look. Thanks, Molly. You want another one? No, go away.
That drink is vodka, little lemon juice, sugar, and mint leaves. That's it. The liquid you were drinking was vodka.
Yeah.
And
no wonder it hit me like a hammer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, it's horrible. Jackson, you probably don't have any cycling-related stories about your Aunt Molly, do you?
No, unfortunately, I was a little too young.
She was too busy telling you, what do you say? It's like, can I have a cookie? What do you say? Now.
I forgot about that phrase, yeah.
She's famous for that one. So there we go. Thanks, Mal. Miss you. Let's get to the headlines brought to us by Gemelli Coffee, the official pre of the Packfiller. Did you see I was doing that while I was trying to find the right key to press while I hit my news headline? Story number one, holy shit, is the headline. Finish for the ages. Wout van Aert. In case you didn't know about Wout van Aert, he's our cyclist for Jumbo-Visma. Claimed victory in the Amstel Gold after a photo finish against Tom Pidcock. Jack's probably happy about that one. And Max Schachmann finishing third after the trio broke clear inside the final 15K of the race and held a frantic chase of the remnants of the peloton. Don't even get me started on how close that was. Winning break formed after a series of aggressive attacks from the main contenders, with Ineos Grenadiers briefly posting 3 riders in a key move before Pidcock attacked. It was quickly joined by Schachmann and Van Aert. Worked really well together, and they just made it until that 200-meter gap there, and it looked like Wout van Aert was about to fade as Pidcock came across his cyclocross rival. It says here, according to the text, that Van Aert found that extra gear, but I can't wait to find out what you guys think. I don't think any of us picked this Woutcome.
Wow.
If you will. Yeah, that just popped into my head. Paul and I made the picks. I don't think either of us picked Wout, did we?
I wasn't even close. No, I don't. I try not to pick. Every once in a while I'll pick Wout, but I try not to pick the obvious.
I'm trying not to also. That's my thing now, yeah.
It wasn't so. I wasn't surprised, but I didn't really think he was going to do all that well after Bransapil. Yeah. That when Pidcock outsprinted him, he just looks tired, and he raced 13 times this year.
Yeah.
And he won 4 of them, and he never finished lower than 13th of all his races that he raced in.
How long can this dude last?
And you wore number 13 on that
He
day.
did, and it wasn't even upside down. I noticed
and I stole all that information from Daniel Lloyd.
Did you?
Yeah. But I got to give him credit. That was good. But I thought he won. I really did. I think it was from the first time, and from the helicopter, it looks like he had a little bit. I mean, I thought it was really close. And then the first picture comes by, and I'm like, that's completely different.
Oh, my God.
And then they kept showing it, and then you could see that tire just like millimeters. And I don't know if I was texting you or another group of cycling friends.
What?
And I just said,
cheater.
I think we just witnessed another 1990 Paris-Roubaix.
It was. I honestly was blown away by it. My mother-in-law gave a shit about bike racing. She said that was the best bike race I've ever seen. Oh. And I want to look at her and say, how many bike races have you seen? Yeah. But she truly was. They were watching it with me. My mother-in-law and my wife were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And do you think Tom Pidcock really, really wishes his mom ate a few more vegetables while she was pregnant just to make him that much longer of a human being?
Because his bike throw is only like
a little guy.
Maybe 4 centimeters because his arms. Yeah,
I'm gonna push it. Go. Yeah, that's mean. That's really fucking mean. The guy's funny. A fucking stud. Yeah, it is funny. Jackson, did you get any takeaways from Amstel Gold? I don't know if you were able to watch it or not, or if you were just completely swamped.
No, yeah. So just like writing, I always prioritize watching as well. I was watching it last night right before I was like in bed watching it on our TV, and I'm really impressed with Pidcock, and I felt very good about making the long shot call when it came to Tom Pidcock. I didn't know how he'd be in the beginning of the season, but he has definitely come to form once the end of like the classics is rounding the corner. Yeah. He's impressive, and he seemed confident. Like Adam Blythe and Matt Stevens were saying that a lot yesterday. That it's like you could see the confidence in him, and they said he had diamonds in his legs, which I kind of like that phrase.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
but it's really cool to see, and it's also great to see the likes of like Mark Hirschi back, Roglic at the business end of these one-day races. Like a lot of these riders are finally kind of starting to come back into it, which is really fun to see.
Roglic, talk about the worst timed mechanical ever. Yeah. Because didn't turn out bad for the team, but oh my God, I guess they didn't have to make a decision. Who we're going to work for?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Wow. That was such a heartbreaker there. But is it just me, or is it just me and my experience from COVID, or is bike racing just that much more brilliant this year? Am I just more into it this year?
I mean, I personally agree with you. I think it could be that I'm also into it. I also find that the GCN documentary, The Lost Year, was talking about how every single rider has ridden every single race when it was 2020 as if it was their last race of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be also their last team or their last race in contract. And part of me wonders if that habitually has kind of stuck into a lot of these riders' heads.
It's been epic.
Well, and I think I listened to, as I've mentioned many times before, a lot of podcasts and stuff, and I heard an interview with Michael Matthews and Luke Durbridge, and somebody else have made the comment that cycling is not what it used to be. With this, in the last couple of years, you used to be, when you're a neo-pro or whatever, you're just first 2 or 3 years, you're sitting back, you're grabbing water. These guys have no respect. Somebody even got pretty angry about it. Like, they'll dive into corners. They're racing for all the marbles, and that used to never happen. Yeah. And I think that's creating, when you hear 3 riders make this claim, that the dynamics of the race is different. And I think we as spectators are getting the good side of that, as opposed to, because we don't know. I mean, you see these young guys, obviously they used to call the big 3, but now we have Askren in the middle of all that now. So big 4, but I think it's just that style of racing is way more aggressive, a lot more fun to watch, as opposed to, I've heard in the past when they had El Patron, like what's his name? Anyway, there's several of them, but what's his name? Anyway, I know you can't help me, but they would demand the speed.
Sure.
They'd scream out piano. It's slow, just tempo, and then at a certain point, then the racing begins, but not anymore. So, yeah,
it's great for us.
Yeah, it is.
I can see that. People are thinking, respect your elders or something like that, but it's like, fuck, dude, this is, I think we're experiencing a generational shift in
and how it's raced.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm loving it. So it's exciting as hell. So, and if things weren't going good enough for Jumbo-Visma, Marianne Vos won the women's race. This woman is the greatest of all time, hands down, in my opinion. I somewhere I read that she's just basically looking at races she hasn't won yet and going, I'm going to fucking take that one. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to take that one before I retire, because wow, she's just dominant again. It's great. I love it.
16-year career.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Not a shifting in the guard there yet, but all right. Second story: Cav closing out with 4 stage wins in the Tour of Turkey. Did you guys all catch all the stages? I have to admit, I made the first 3 or 4 stages, and then I shifted to other races. Yeah,
I watched a couple of Cavs live as wins, and I saw the last stage or the TT. No, I was watching another. That's another race I was watching. I can't remember. It was the one that Enrique Mas flatted on the TT in the last K. And
you were saying that, yeah.
But yeah, I watched those. I think it's good to see him race, and I think you and I were talking about that. Sure, it's not all the big names aren't there, but there's still some people. Like Philipsen was there. He won a stage, the last stage, and I think another stage. So, I mean, he's not something to, cough at. But, yeah, I think he's found his rhythm. And I just heard an interview with his trainer, and he says his numbers now are matching his numbers when he was with De Koning the last time before he left.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the claim. So that's pretty impressive.
where do you think it'll take him? Anybody got any ideas where it'll take him this year? I mean, I don't see him lining up the tour. I don't know if that's
Sam Bennett.
Yeah,
there.
that's a worthwhile.
And then Giro is. I think they already have somebody established. Maybe they'll have him. I don't know what the Vuelta. I can't remember what the Vuelta, stages are like. But
yeah, I think the only worry with a rider like Cavendish, I think, is he going to make the 3-week tour? I remember a lot of the days when there were times when he would drop out of the tour because he would make time cuts and stuff. So especially with the Vuelta, that's a particularly hilly race, which is kind of difficult when we kind of put those two things together. Especially when we see a lot of like the sprinters jersey going to climbers, or like the fast men in some of the hills. So it'll be interesting to see where it takes him, though.
Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, even if this were, I think we talked about this, Paul, last week. It's like if this were the end, what a great final season to go off with. At least with those, higher end finishes. It's still a high end pro, world tour level of a race. It's not a world tour race, but it's one of the world tour levels of a race. So I think sweet, man. Anybody catch the stage of the tour of the Alps today?
Yes.
Jackson, did you get a chance for it?
I haven't had a chance yet.
No worries. It's all on GCN. Should we say his name? Gianni Moscon? And should we just not mention his name? Because I think you said the biggest dickhead in Peloton.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anybody see the horrendous, Paul, anybody, you and I, the horrendous course control? There were parked cars all along the last 5K of this course today. And I'm watching this going, what the fuck are we yelling about riders about dropping bottles and puppy paws when they still can't get finish line stretches or fucking cars off the side of the course? Guys, you're finding the wrong people. You should be finding race directors for having these cars on a course. This is people's livelihoods we're talking about, not livelihoods, lives. And I was screaming at my iPad today, all alone in a big classroom, and people probably thought it was crazy.
I wouldn't mind if Johnny Moscon ran into it, but outside of that, anybody else, I would be upset.
He's a douche. He's a douche. I do have to say, though, I'm kind of flying through the news here because we do have other things to get through, but I have decided that Matt Stevens and Daniel Lloyd could announce an insurance convention, and it would be interesting.
I agree, 100%.
I love GCN.
I wish they could do it every English-speaking race. Those two are great.
I think I could see it being on the horizon for them.
Do you?
It'd be cool. Yeah, I think NBC is their biggest competitor.
I think it's all a matter of if NBC chooses to let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Which would be great for us, but bad for bike racing, because people wouldn't be able to watch the tour without a subscription. Am I right?
Yeah, but how you have to wonder about. We don't have the demographics. How many people are watching the tour? Everybody's plugged into streaming anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so they have the rights through Peacock, and if they're going to continue on, that you're going to have to subscribe or whatever. People are going to buy a package because it's tied in with the sports or Olympic Channel, whatever they play their game on. But I wish they'd go away. I don't think there's the average person. Nobody in my family would ever sit and watch Tour de France. Yeah. I mean, from my wife to my kids to my brothers and sisters, watch the Tour de France.
No, they don't.
No interest whatsoever. So whether it was free or paid, I mean,
we almost need the John Tesh Sunday recaps in between holes of golf.
Oh, we could do that.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah,
you're great compositions. Yeah. With music, from the beginning to start.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we can.
Welcome to the Tour de France. Yeah, exactly. I can do that. I'm just as good as John Tesh. Wow. God damn it!
Got something going.
I do also say that I've discovered, and it's probably a duh moment for most everybody else in the world, but that you can log on to GCN during the live broadcast and rewind it as far as you want. If you catch it while it's still going, I think. I've been doing that with every race. I'll get to work about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning, pop up my iPad. It says still live. I hit go, and I'm like, please don't show me the final. Yeah, but then I see it says, 30K to go, and I go, I'm going to watch the last 50 or 60K, and just slide it back, and you're catching up. So it's worth it. It's worth it. And we made it under the deadline for the cheap version. So a couple more news headlines. I don't know if you guys have anything. Team Vini Zabu banned for 30 days after a second doping case. 30 days. Wait, first of all, there's still doping in cycling? I thought we got rid of that. I thought we were focused on other things. Philippe Gilbert announced his retirement at the end of 2022. 20-year pro career when he finishes that one off. If any of you guys he's going to be racing Flesh. I keep thinking that whenever I think of that song.
Fantasy.
Yeah. What's left in his career? I mean, it's that Milan-San Remo. It sounds like
he'll have one more shot at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If he wins, you just could say good night, everybody.
Yeah. Right. You think he'd probably just hang it up right there?
I would.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why the hell not? Right.
He's mentally burned out. That's why he took a break for a while. He was just kind of like he said he needed a mental break.
Yeah.
That was the other person, is Philippe Gilbert, that said that younger riders don't have respect for older guys.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been at it, man.
Yeah.
Peloton for 20 plus years. So I guess he could probably say something like that. I had some other stuff on Chris Froome's comeback, but fuck it, because it probably isn't going to happen. We got to get to our picks. We've got Flèche Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège happening here this Wednesday and this Sunday. And those are big ones. And those are what I consider the official end of the classic season. And once again, these are... I always find it weird that Flèche is considered what it is and these midweek races. And I always thought Flèche Wallonne was a bigger race than it maybe build.
It's just kind of like what Gent-Wevelgem is to the Flanders and stuff. You know, it's just kind of that precursor to see where people are at. So
and I don't know. I just keep thinking, wow, it's kind of a mini. You know, it's like Liège-Bastogne-Liège is the favorite brother, or something like that. But I don't know. I thought they were both. I loved this week of racing. I always thought it was interesting, especially because the courses suddenly get different. It's a different types of climbs in the Mur de Huy, right? Hitting it multiple times and things like that. So I sent Jackson. Did you get start lists?
Yes, they're both on my screen as we speak.
Great. I know that Liège-Bastogne-Liège is really, really sparse because basically they haven't committed to all the riders doing that specific day, but yikes. How many did we pick last time? I think it was 3 riders, or do we get 2 riders? I can't remember.
I always do 3.
Always do 3? Okay. Like 2 favorites and an outside, even though we don't ever pick outside. We just pick 3 riders that we think are going to win the whole thing.
All mine are outside.
Are they? Yeah, I don't pick the huge favorites either. So let's start with Flèche Wallonne, which is this Wednesday. And again, I'll offer it up. If anybody gets a rider, one of their 3 picks for both podiums, I'll send you some swag. I got some undershirts here that can go out, and I've got, of course, more coffee mugs, things like that. I can't send out the cool new high end socks because those are going to go out in there for the team riders, but. I think they're pretty damn long. You see,
are they?
We're going to be like Froome.
All right.
Yeah.
Or Pidcock.
Yeah. Hey, it worked. Oh, almost.
Almost.
Yep.
Well, it did on Wednesday.
It did. Yeah. That's true. So let's look at Flèche Wallonne. I'm going to go first because I want to. I'm picking 3 riders, one of which is one of the 3. I'm going with Julian Alaphilippe. I think Julian is pissed, and I think he's ready to kick some ass. He's going to go for it, and he's going to be flamboyant and all over the place, and he's going to do something amazing. My second rider I'm going to pick because I just want the guy to do something is Michael Woods from Israel Startup Nation. I'd love to see him do something. And third, because I think he's the hot pick right now, Bora Hansgrohe, Max Schachmann. Those are my 3. Schachmann, Woods, and Alaphilippe. Jackson or Paul, who would like to go next? Jackson. Paul pointed to the computer.
I can do it. So I am going to only have one of the three that you picked in Julian Alaphilippe. The big three have been finally broken up for a race. So I will pick Julian for that one. And then I thought Roglic looked very good last week.
He does.
This last weekend. So I'm going to pick Primoz Roglic. And then with the big three being broken up, I think Tom Pidcock is going to have a big week.
Whoa. Okay. He's going in as the man for Ineos. He is. He's listed as their first rider on the roster. He'll be with the number one on his back. So there we go. That should be interesting. Paul Main, Flesh Malone.
Now, after I made the statement that I always pick like the underdogs.
Yeah.
That's
You're
not
full
so
of shit
true on
now.
this
Yeah.
on the Flesh.
Okay.
Except one, which people will probably say, crap, that's not true. I have Schachmann because he seems to be rolling pretty good.
Okay.
And that finishes on the Mur de Huy.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
that's where everything waits and then everybody attacks. And then Roglic is doing pretty good, and he's focusing on the Ardennes and not doing any of the prep stage races for the Tour.
Yeah.
This is it. Then he's doing, I think, a camp. So I know he's got all. He's rolling the dice here.
Yeah.
And then I'm picking Valverde.
I was wondering if you were going to give him one last day in the sun.
Yeah, and because he is nailed. He's got that climb. He always finishes it.
He knows it well.
He's got a pick.
And he's been at the front a lot of races lately. It's not like he's going off to pasture here. Yeah.
No. And he's smart. He's one of the most clever riders.
Yeah. Well, that's the mini classic here. So that's interesting to pick some of those riders and try to wonder if they're going to, first of all, if they're going to do Liège. Second of all, if they're going to perform in Liège. So my three for Liège, Bastogne Liège, I'm picking Primoz Roglic for Liège. I'm picking Tim Wellens from Lotto Soudal, and I'm picking Mikel Kwiatkowski because I think he's going to do something for Ineos. So those three riders very well might be cursed. Jackson, three for Liège.
Yes. So I'm going to double up on one of my riders.
Okay.
I don't think Alaphilippe can screw this up twice.
I agree.
So there's one of them. I'm also going to pick Max Schachmann for this one. And then my last one will be Mark Hirschi.
Good choice. I like those. Paul?
I have Michael Woods. This has always been one of his favorite races. His teammate Dan Martin, who's actually won it once. He was chased by a panda.
What?
Have you ever seen that picture?
No.
Oh, yeah. The final
about.
climb up in Liège, Bastogne Liège, there's a panda. Some guy in a panda suit jumped on the course. He's like running. Right? That's and then I threw in, here's my hopeful on that is Greg Van Avermaet. He's been pretty close to all of them. He's more of a cobble guy, but maybe I'd like to see him do something.
I didn't pick him just because I think because my picking shot. Is cursing him.
Yeah, it's a long shot.
Up.
And then Tej Benoot.
Okay, you won't give up on him.
I like Tej. Yep, he's Belgian. Gotta have to root for him.
All right, there we go. Those are the picks. If you want to make some picks for the race, you may do so probably on our Facebook, on either the Packfiller Facebook or the Team Packfiller Facebook. And I do believe I give team members 3 picks, and non-team members you just get 2. So that's just how it works, man. You gotta pay to play.
Put some skin in the game.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So and those again, if you get two of those 3 riders on a podium, I'll send you some shit. There we go. So shall we get to the topic, gentlemen? Is there anything I'm missing? There was so much news this week. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I'm sure there is. Somebody's gonna get mad at me. Not knowing who Lael Wilcox was. Something
Bring
like that.
that up again.
Yeah, I can't say the dude's name because it's a tough name to pronounce, so I'm not going to, and I'm going to obviously do that also because I think it provides a little privacy for the guy. But a 52-year-old Masters racer from California recently has accepted a 4-year ban for possession and use and or attempted use of, get this, 10 prohibited substances, including anabolic steroids, growth hormones, according to the USA Anti-Doping Agency. They announced last week that his 4-year ban began on April 7th of 2021, so just recently. This guy, Masters level racer, 52 years old, races mainly downhill and enduro mountain bike races. He contested his case originally, but was he later accepted and basically is taking 4 years off. I don't know if my main angle is the story or if it's the why of all of this. And you two guys were kind enough to kind of help me about where we were going to drive this ship today. And the why is what is it that got you into the sport? What made you fall in love with it, and what keeps you going, especially at this screwy time? And why you would ever imagine somebody going to the level of what this guy did? And Paul, you and I talked about it at length on the ride on Saturday about. Well, I'll get to that in a minute here. So, first of all, I'd like to ask you guys your thoughts on a guy going to this length to be competitive. Your thoughts on personal thoughts. It could be, you're enraged, you're angry, fuck this guy. It could be let he without sin cast the first stone. It could be anything like that. I'd just like to know what you guys think of a dude in California, 52 years old, with 10 prohibited substances potentially in his system to be a better bike racer.
I mean, first of all, how did you get that many at one time? That's a lot.
He's a drug rep.
But it's something that is very interesting that I think is as athletes, as competitors, as competitive people in general, I think no matter what, you always want to stay competitive. And I think I am at an age where I am luckily, not to be like, oh, I'm so fit, but like I have the ability where I can give me a month of training and boom, I can be in shape. Like as I age, that will not be there anymore. And so I think sometimes there could be a difficulty when looking at younger people and how they have that ability to just their bodies can adapt to like these scenarios so quickly, and always wanting to stay competitive. So I think there's a little bit of pride in here of I want to be able to stay competitive. I want to be able to beat these people. So how can I do that in the shortest amount of time? It's something that I don't think I'd ever resort to, but I guess he's kind of getting what he deserves a little bit. Cheating is cheating,
Yeah. Paul, any opening thoughts on this?
Yeah, we kind of talked about this in length and on the ride.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to think somebody at 52 years old that has to resort to this. What's the purpose of racing at 52? It's just for shits and giggles. So why are you doing drugs? I mean, it's, Yeah. And I know it's out there, and I've heard a lot of people who've done masters, nationals for crit and road race and stuff. They said, yeah, there's a group of guys you're just like, they're
doped up.
Yeah, without a doubt. Everybody knows it or thinks it or whatever. They have, it's completely different. And we had a guy here in the state of Washington that was in his 40s, was national champion, and he got popped for drugs. And the angle I come from, and as I mentioned in last week, is I had a chance to go to Europe, and I told you I knew how much sacrifice I was going to be making to go to Europe to race. I mean, my brother was paying for my plane ticket. This family was hosting me. I have a team they're taking a gamble to take me on their team. And this is on the height of 1988. That's when drugs started really going crazy. And if that opportunity was there, I know my decisions in my 20s are way different than in my 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot at stake. I just passed up college, a free ride to college. I had, what am I going to do? Just I'm not there, and a teammate says this is what we do. But when you're 52, what the hell? That doesn't even make sense. I mean, you're not going to be. It's not your life. I mean, you shouldn't be sacrificing family and friends and your job or work or that type of thing just to win a bike race. I mean, at this point in time, like I said, it's shits and giggles.
Yeah.
And how can you feel good about beating somebody who's, playing by the rules just so you can say, yeah, I won the Tuesday night series or
sure,
or even the state championship and you're to the gilt. But I do understand that in this sport it's like you just want that next. I mean, what is it? Maybe it's my diet. We always play with different things. Training.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll do more this and that. But when you cross that line at, past 35 years old, I'm not justifying drugs, but you can kind of think when there's nothing to sacrifice. You're not going to go anywhere. It's just a medal on and you cheated for a medal, a national championship medal in your wall.
It's so hard for me to wrap my head around this because obviously, this is a sport I'm passionate about, and if I would have remained entrenched in the competition, this guy's from California. I know that the competitive level in California is probably quite a bit higher than what we're dealing with maybe here. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But wanting to consistently be there, or relive those days when you were really at the height of your prime, or beating the guys, or these new fuckers are coming up, these young kids are coming up and they're kicking my ass, and it's frustrating, and my ego is being bruised, and I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to wrap my head around the guy who is a 52-year-old, whatever he does for a living. If he's a high-end cyclist, there's a good chance he's got disposable income, and that he makes that financial commitment to dope. It's wrong, 1,000%. I know it's wrong, but I also think in the same breath, I can't put myself in that position because I never had somebody. When I was at the Olympic Training Center and things like that in my youth, I got out. I left before any of the blood doping situations or anything like that came up. So I can't say I've ever been posed with that. Hey, as I say many times, hey, Pat, take this pill or go back home and be a greeter at Walmart. That's your choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to get that extra 10% by taking this pill and shutting the fuck up about it, or do you and living your dreams, or do you want to go home and be the honest boy who works as a greeter at Walmart? No, it's not that simple of a decision. But I'm not condoning doping because I think it's horrible. I think it's wrong. I think it's fucking up our sport. But as long as you have two people who want to beat each other and one guy can't do it genetically, where are you going to be? So I don't know. It's really hard for me to understand this guy doing this, especially when you're saying it's for a medal. Or is it ego? Is it that important to be competitive, guys? I'm not necessarily saying doping, but is it important to you guys to be competitive at the front end of the arrowhead of a race, Jackson?
I find to a point, like I am just by my nature a competitive person. So, like whenever I do anything, I want to be like the best and I want to win. But if it's consuming my life, then I've learned that I just naturally go, this is not worth it, as I've mentioned so many times. That's what soccer became for me. I played for so long, and then after a while it became so competitive that it's like either you're thinking about soccer, trying to make connections and only being in that world, or you're not good enough, or you're not doing enough work. And it's like at that point, Christ, it's not worth it, like I want to have a life with a family and I mean a cat, when it becomes to a point where I can't have the things that I prioritize, that's when I go, this is just, I'm taking this too seriously. So I think to a point I want to be competitive.
I say for a fact I do. I pretend I don't. I pretend when I immediately go to my self-deprecating humor when I get dropped. because it's a defense mechanism. Do I want to get dropped? Nope. Do I want to do well in a bike race? Yeah, fuck yeah. Would I enter a race without hopes of being at least something, a fly in the ointment? Yeah, I mean, or I wouldn't even bother racing. So you can't say it isn't. I mean, the Mojo guys, I love you guys, but you're full of shit, guys. I mean, you are still those guys. They're great guys. They're still competitive. The average triathlete is still competitive, even if they're just saying they're racing to finish. Or Jackson, you and I did a Midnight Century with one of the Mojo guys, and he was hammering that whole ride. And even though he was one of the guys who said, "We just go, man. We're just out to have a good time." It's like, dude, come on, man. You were trying to put the hurt down for a long time. So you can't say that it's not in us. And I think this sport attracts that type of a mentality.
Well, I think any sport. I mean, I even look. My dad was a great when handball was before racquetball. I mean, he played handball, and I mean,
those guys are all accountants and douchebags. Well, sorry, not your dad though.
Yeah, he was just a fighter pilot, you know.
Yeah,
but all those guys, there's something about humans that we like to compete. It's to measure. I think it's just so primal that we want to measure ourselves with everybody else. And when you're talking about when we were younger, the decision to make and not to justify drugs at a younger age by any means, but the temptation would have to be there because you do, like Jackson came to the point, as he said, was he wants a family and stuff. Those things do bear that, burden. If you do that, you're sacrificing. If you want to be that good, you're sacrificing family and friends. And when I made my push, I didn't date anybody. I didn't drink. I didn't. Yeah. This was it. I was going to France, and man, I mentioned two guys that I knew that raced over in Belgium that came back and sold their bikes. They were done because of the drugs. They weren't willing to take that next step. Oh. I mean, they were right there. So why? I can't say I would like to think that I wouldn't cross that line, but I can tell you at age 40 on, I didn't take it to the point where that was ever an option. I mean, you could send me anywhere. I had a family and everything else. I wasn't going to sacrifice. But an example, there's this lady I came across, and she found out when I was doing an inspection on their house, and that I rode bikes with her husband a couple of times. And she's like, "Do you ride a lot?" And I said, "Well, not like I used to." And she said, "Well, I remember my husband and I, we had a huge group of friends, and this is when triathlons were big." Mm-hmm. And one of the two would start training for an Ironman or getting into becoming a triathlete. They used to go home and say, "How long do you think that marriage is going to last?" And they said all their friends that one of the two or both did that, they never last.
Really?
And I don't know how many friends they had, but still that makes, they might have had 20, 10 or 5, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you sacrifice that much time and effort, later when you already had that commitment to marriage or family and life and a job, mm-hmm. it doesn't work. And to take drugs on top of that, that's just stupid.
Yeah. And somebody online just mentioned the difference between racing to win or racing just for fun. Yeah, there is a difference, mm-hmm. but there's also a minimum entry fee physically to race just for fun. I think unless you're talking, mass start, some of these larger events or triathlon or something like mm-hmm. that, where you're seriously just doing it. But after a while, once you get farther down the rabbit hole, you find yourself going more and more and more and wanting to beat your own PRs. I don't go out and get Strava KOMs, and I don't think I ever will again because I'm not fast enough anymore. However, as I said earlier, I sit on the back deck, I look at my Strava, I look for as many PRs as I can, and that's a competitive nature in me. So we can't say that we're not competitive, and we can't say that it's not important. Let's backtrack a little bit. What got you into the sport? And this is for anybody who is, for our listeners or something like that. I'm sure, we're going to talk about cycling, but I've had some people asking me about triathlon and things like that. But what got you into the sport? What was it? What was it? A person? Was it a competitive drive? Paul, when you and I talked last week, you said you dreamt about it from a super young age.
Yeah.
And it was just...
I didn't know it existed, but I enjoyed the bike so much. I just couldn't imagine that these things weren't raced because I love going fast. If not, I wanted to create it. So, some people have their dad or they were exposed to it. Some people have, something that they've tried other sports and this was one that they were good at.
Yeah.
Or they hit their knees running or hips, so they got into it. Jesus. Like Michael Woods.
Yeah.
Jackson,
the listeners probably don't know your origin. I don't know what got you in and what, sure, you were born and raised into a cycling house, but what made you think that you wanted to continue with this? My dad plays a shit ton of golf. I'm not fucking playing golf. So I'm just saying, you didn't have to do this.
No, yeah, I think, as I said before, and many times, once again before this, but I played soccer since I was like 5 years old, and I played until I was a junior in high school, and then I just stopped it altogether after that. Like, I kind of slowly but surely stopped watching it. It like consumed my life, and then it was just done, and at that point, I went to I was like full in on theater and everything, and I was like, this is it. I love this. And then I got to college and it was like, well, I'd been writing a little bit before that. Obviously there was a junior team, but it was like soccer still kind of like took the front seat for me. And then, I hit college and I realized I'm not really doing anything when I'm at school. For the first 2 years, I didn't ride my bike at all. And I had both of my mountain bike and my road bike there. And then one summer, it was just like everything clicked. It was the transition summer between my my sophomore and my junior year. And it was just like out of nowhere, I was like in it. And I think it was that natural tendency for me to resort to a sport, to go back to being like, I have an obsessive personality. Like when I get into something, I get obsessed with that thing. Until I can like achieve it or have it. And that's just kind of how this went. And I got really obsessed with cycling really quickly. And it was something that I was worried. I didn't know, is it going to stay? Is it going to go? It didn't go. And so ever since that summer, it was like, I found GCN on YouTube. And I think that's genuinely what got me into it is YouTube. It's such a powerful tool to reach out to so many different audiences. And watching those videos, watching Lachlan Morton, Ted King, Alex Howes, all those characters, made me go, I see personality that I identify with and I can connect with that. And it's kept me in it. And I try to emulate those type of personalities as much as I can now.
I started it because I was a ski racer, and my ski racing coach told my parents, you want this kid to be a good ski racer, get him on a bike in the summer and do that because he needs strengthening and fitness. And so they did that, and 2 years later, my dad looked at me and said, you're a ski racer and a bike racer. Those are the two most expensive sports on the planet. You've got to pick one. And I picked cycling, and this is where it's going to lead.
Said the golfer?
Yeah, said my dad, the golfer. Yeah. But I picked cycling, and this is what leads to my next question. I picked cycling because I was better at it than I was ski racing. In my ski racing career, I won one ski race. In cycling, I won quite a few. Do you find yourself continuing in the sport primarily because you're good at it? You guys?
I don't, because I'm not good at it.
Bullshit. Bullshit. No. Your humility will not work.
No, I mean, if you look how many years I've raced and how many races I've won, it doesn't look so good. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. The thing with bike racing to me is it's more, especially at this age, it's more cerebral because I know I'm limited. So if I'm racing with people that are better than me, then I have to use whatever tools I have to try and beat them. And that's the challenge, and that's what I enjoy. And drugs don't do that.
But you're still capable of potentially beating them at this level.
Well, I don't know yet, because we haven't raced for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I'd like to, and I know that my training's way sucking right now, so I'm not harboring any thoughts of grandeur.
Yeah.
But hopefully when things start picking up and rolling, that maybe it will happen. But that's a part of bike racing that I've always enjoyed, was the tactical part, and it took a long time for me to understand the tactical part, because in the early stages I was strong enough on the lower categories to just ride people off my wheel.
Yeah.
But you get into Cat 2 and it's a fool's errand to do that. So anyway, then it became more of a challenge to figure out what can I do to get so.
Jackson, tell me, what got you into it, what helped you fall in love with it? Was it the fact that you were good at it and it suited you, or my main thing too is if we weren't successful to a certain level, would you have kept going? So I'll pose this to you, Jackson.
Yeah, I think that originally, it was mountain biking where it started. And I have such a limited experience in racing that it is almost it's tough for me to make a judgment off of that. I've had one big success, I think, when it comes to cycling. And from that I caught a high, but then 2020 hit that high right in the nuts. So I think from that high, I still kind of carry a little bit of that. I want to be able to race. I don't know if it's necessarily that I'm good at it that keeps me in it. I hope I'm good. I'm excited to see what this next year brings in terms of that. But I also have a real passion for the media side of it. I really like I just talked about, the videos, the films, things like that. That's something that really excites me a little bit, and making it as well is something that's really fun for me. So I think if I'm not that great at it, I have something else that kind of draws me in as well.
Yeah, and it becomes a more encompassing lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So just like there are guys who watch the Golf Channel all day. Hi, Dad. So that's interesting, Jackson, to hear, that's an element that kind of keeps you driving, keeps you going forward. It doesn't necessarily have to be a race or a competitive element. It could be the lifestyle, but there still is a physical level to maintain the lifestyle. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say. Oh yeah, like when I ride, I don't just. I have an exterior of this very it's all good, kind of mentality. But when I like to ride for fitness gains, but there are also some days, and I've talked about this with another person on a ride, where it's but all those days don't have to be that way. So I think finding that balance is something that is important as well.
What sacrifices have you guys made or do you still make to be faster, or did you make to be faster or at least enjoy the sport more? Is there something in your life that you've gone, I have to push that aside, I can't do that, or anything like that? Yeah.
Well, like I mentioned before, I did.
Sure.
My passion for beer had to be pushed aside, and I didn't date. I lived a very monk style lifestyle. Really, yeah. It was all about bike racing. I lived off of baked potatoes with butter and pepper, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese if I could afford it, and black beans and rice, and those things, working a part-time job and training as much as you can. And it does grind on you if, like for me, I wasn't being all that successful. So I knew that if I did go to Europe, that was that point of no return.
Sure.
If I went there, then we'll see what really matters. I mean, I'm in the thick of things, but after that point, yeah.
Yeah. Jackson, anything at this point?
I mean, if you ask the person I live with, I think they could pretty well attest to this, but I procrastinate like a son of a bitch.
That's a bad word from you.
I know, right? But I do. So I will go on rides and just procrastinate. Wow. Yeah, seriously. But I will procrastinate my homework like hell and just ride instead. And are there consequences later? Yes, but I still get it in. That's what matters.
Okay.
But no, I don't think there's been anything like life changing for me that I've had to sacrifice. But yeah, just making my future self a little bit more stressed than my present self.
Yeah. I can't remember who I was talking to about it recently, but about high school years, the high school years where, the kids who are just kind of going out and, you and I were talking about it, Paul, about somebody, about kids getting mad at their parents and rebelling and all that kind of shit and stuff like that. And I was reflecting on the ride about that for a little bit. And I was going, I never had that moment when I was in grade school and high school because my family, we all were going to races together all the time, constantly. And I was so concerned about being a good bike racer that I didn't have my first alcoholic beverage until almost college.
Wow.
Yeah. And that first one was 1.5 peach coolers, and I threw up all over a buddy's bathroom.
You deserved that.
Yeah, they were Seagram's peach coolers.
Seagram's.
Yeah. And I can't eat anything peach flavored now. I can eat a peach, but nothing peach flavored. So I was so obsessed with it, and so focused on it, but it wasn't something that I thought at the time was a sacrifice. Didn't have a whole lot of girlfriends in high school either. And those types of things. So I guess my point of asking you guys all these questions is we've made these sacrifices. We understand that, in the classic tragic protagonist type of a definition, that anything worth having requires some form of a sacrifice. And I'm not painting this guy in California as a tragic hero, but can you understand the mentality behind somebody who wants something so bad that they're willing to just go that extra mile because it's just within their reach? I don't know. I'm not condoning doping. Don't think this is the pro-doping show or anything like that. But it's such a hard. It's so hard without being in the mind of the person doing it. I don't know.
Well, I think that's true. We had this talk on a ride when Jack was still riding a bike. So
Jack who?
Well, we mentioned the guy that we raced against, Steve Smith.
Yeah.
That from the time he was, 13, 14, I'll probably have all these numbers wrong. Somebody's going to probably say, God, no. But, that guy was unstoppable.
Insane.
Yeah. Everything was for racing bikes.
Yeah.
And he had a chance to go to the national team and probably become a pro. But he crossed that line, at 19, 20 years old when that opportunity came and said, you know what? I've never gone on a date. I've never, he's made a sacrifice and he's like, nah, I don't want this. Boy, that's a huge decision.
Hard to give up. Yeah.
But I think cycling is different than in basketball or football. The three main sports, even baseball. You don't have the dedication. You have to be totally on 100% in cycling. What did you do when you woke up? I don't know about you, but I checked my heart rate.
Always took my heart rate. Yeah,
it was all about
down
cycling.
And then standing up. Yeah, that's what
I thought
Eddie
about
told
my
us.
diet. I thought about what I was eating, how much sleep I was getting before Whoop was around. All that stuff I would write on, down or see where I was at. The that commitment doesn't come in any other sport, in my opinion, than cycling. It is a full dedication. And I dated this one girl. She goes, you know what? You have an obsession with cycling. I said, no, I don't. This is what it takes if I want to go any further. And she said, no, you're just obsessed with it. And I thought, well, if that's what it takes to get, to get better, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
We didn't last.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's key number 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that wasn't even my ex-wife.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a strain on relationship, and I could see, I guarantee this guy. I don't know him from Adam, but I have the feeling that his marriage isn't so hot right now. If he's got 10 doping products in his system and he's focusing just specifically on bike racing. So, but even if he is married, he's 52. Well, divorced.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Jackson, any closing thoughts on any of this stuff? Do you want to get out of the sport now before you become a 52-year-old guy who's sucking down horse tranquilizers?
No, I
just one more, man. Just one more.
Just a dime bag.
Yeah, I think no, I don't think I want to get out of the sport yet, but I think that there's always I always try and tell myself this, but it's always important to have that mentality of like, I always try and lean towards the side of like kind of how Lachlan Morton and those type of guys with the mentality. Like I said earlier, I like to emulate those type of ways, just because I think when things get competitive, having that type of mentality can just be important to stay relaxed and know that there are other things in life as well. So
sure, yeah, okay, there we go.
There's other things in bicycle.
I don't know.
I'll be darned.
A cable guy was in my house this weekend, and he came down here to try to miss some Billy. Yeah, he wasn't that cable guy, but he came down and he goes, "The hell you do down here?" This is a podcast studio. He goes, "What kind of podcast? This is sports." And he looked at me. He goes, "Kind of sports?" And I'm like, "Bike racing." Anyway. So anyway, I think that we need to get this line running from here to here, and he just kind of went like, "Dude."
I always said, "What do you do down here?" I do gladiator films. You interested?
I'm looking for a male lead.
Yeah, you look pretty stocky.
Yeah. How are you with a chainmail? Yeah, exactly. So, okay, continuing on. You know what time it is? It's that time.
Oh my.
Here it comes.
Watch this with Professor Paul.
We missed a week, and we missed a very important week because we missed the week of Paris-Roubaix. But
that hence my selection.
Yeah. But you came back with a gem, in my opinion. Jackson, did you get a chance to see it? Do you want to tell? You did. Okay.
Oh, good, because it was 16 minutes long. I was
19.
Worried. Oh, 19.
19.
I was worried because I know that he's a busy guy. That maybe he wouldn't.
Well, I looked at my computer and went, "Oh, fine,
okay."
Yeah. This week we got to look into the 2016 Paris-Roubaix, and I wish I would have known this film existed because last week I was talking about the amazing job that Dakota Quickstep has been doing about releasing these videos that are so behind the scenes that gets you right there, and I was loving it. And then here you show me one from 2016. Which was behind the Orca Green Edge team, now Team Bike Exchange, their perspective on the event. I've got a bunch of comments on this, but I'm sure you guys probably, Jackson, I don't know if you had any first thoughts or highs or lows or what the hells or anything like that you might have caught just from this viewing.
Yeah, I always thought EF did it first, but it's interesting to see other versions of it. I do like how when he wins, he doesn't understand what's going on. He's walking around in pure delirium, and it's very endearing to see that, and it's very humanizing, I think, for these riders, which is important because you only really see them through a helmet and some glasses.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool to see just how special that moment was. This
is Matt Hayman's win, which was My dog's not in pain, I promise.
No,
it's my wife just got home.
Yeah.
So everybody in the background going, what the hell are they doing to that
just
dog?
saw our car flash
No,
by.
he's just really excited to be here. Matt Heyman's win for Orca Green Edge. I came away with, first of all, I'm so glad that the GoPro was invented. The perspective shots inside Paris-Roubaix are so unbelievable from the peloton's view, from a bike rider's view in the race. I can't wait till we get to the point where a live feed camera is going to be that much more accessible to inside the peloton, where we hear the swearing, the grinding of the gears, the fuck, stuff like that. It's things like that. It from the outside, Paris-Roubaix looks so glamorous. It looks just like, oh, the romance, the wonder of it. And then you look at these guys in the race, and you're going, this is a fucking nightmare. This is so brutal. It is, as they say, it's not a war of attrition, it's a war of nutrition. And I think it's both. And to hear it from Matty Heyman's perspective is so cool, especially before they're talking to him, and he has no idea what awaits him.
Yeah.
And against the great Tom Bonin and stuff like that, I thought that was such a great way to present that film. I loved it.
It was really well done. That is probably Dieter actually made a comment on your Facebook page for Packfiller, and he's one of the 3 guys or 4 guys actually that Dismount Dave and I befriended, and he's like, Matthew Heyman.
Yeah.
I mean, to them, they are. If you win Paris-Roubaix, you're a star, and especially this is one of these races that hardly anybody knows Matthew Heyman. Although if you're in he's a workhorse. Yeah, and that was his 16th or 17th Paris-Roubaix, and he's been close. He's just a hard-working guy. To add more to that story, he broke his arm at Hitvork, which is in February. The only training he had, and I threw this in because of you and Jackson, because you chase cartoons. But this is early days of Zwift, and he ended up doing 2 sessions, trainer sessions, in the morning and the afternoon for this particular race. Yeah. And it was so bad he had a step ladder to rest his arm so he could do like Zwift and just ride on Zwift.
I have quotes from him. He says just on the ergo section, sessions, and that was what he said.
And it was it was all on Zwift.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
this video, by the way, is on the Packfiller Facebook and on the Team Packfiller Facebook. So I put both the links there.
Yeah, and he says in Paris-Roubaix it's one of these, if you flat, get up and go.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, because something's going to happen. They can crash or you can crash. Just keep going because you never know where you're going to go. So he didn't think he was going to be any good. He attacks at 180 plus kilometers away from the finish. He was in the lead breakaway, and he wins.
Shit.
That never happens.
Yeah.
I mean, rarely happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great one, and everybody, even Tom Boonen, he would have broke the record for how many Paris-Roubaix. It would have been 5. He said, I wouldn't. I couldn't lose to a better guy than Matthew Heyman. Everybody has positive things.
That was one of the 2 moments where the word fruit was used
instead
of the F word.
Yeah.
And Bonin looks at him and goes, "Fruit, you deserve it, man."
That was the other thing. That was for Jackson too, so she doesn't swear.
You can just say fruit, Jay.
Yeah, just say fruit. That hurt.
And there was another one, the fruit moment when they actually won the race. The guys in the team car, and the police are outside the car going, "Move this fucking car!" And they're just like, "Oh, fruit, move!"
Jean Don don't care about the race. No. They have a job.
Yeah,
let's go.
He was 36 when he won that race. And speaking of our previous topic, I guess that's why you keep going.
Yeah. Good reflection of life.
Yeah.
You get knocked down.
Get up again.
Yeah. Sorry,
you're going to let me down.
Substances.
What's that, Jay?
I said take 10 banned substances.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, whatever you can get your hands on, right? Yeah, exactly. Any well, I don't need to ask why you chose that because that was a great one.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. Not that your other ones weren't good, but this one I really
and that was in my opinion, I'm trying to think back. There's some exciting ones, but it was like the 15th round of a heavyweight fight. Those guys were attacking the last breakaway in the last like 7 kilometers. They were just like attacking each other. And then they regrouped at the end, and you're like, you thought it had it sorted out. If you watch it like the whole race, if you have time to watch like even right after Orshi, which is about 60 kilometers to go, it is a struggle the whole way. There's tactical and anyway.
No, I forgot
it's like one of the best Paris-Roubaix.
I forgot it came down to that group sprint. For some reason, I thought Heyman rode into the Velodrome alone.
Yeah.
And I was watching this going, oh, shit, it didn't. And, Bonin was with him, and then the other 2 guys caught on, too. And it was like, hey, no, it was a
Except
great
Van
race.
Marke,
Except Van
not
Marke,
just
sorry.
anybody.
Oh, yeah, sorry, except Van Marke. Great choice, man. And by the way, like I said, we post these links. So sometimes it's a little behind the 8 ball and things like that, and I don't get them posted until probably the day of the show. But this one in particular, if it's from Orica Green Edge, it's their perspective of the 2016 Paris-Roubaix, and you could probably find it and then give it a watch because these are great. And we will always post. I think our Facebook is a great way to do it for the team and for the regular. So if you search Packfiller on Facebook, chances are you're going to find us, unless you're probably finding some sort of a weird lumber industry thing or something like that. I don't know. What the hell would it be?
What?
I don't know. It just popped into my head. Like wood filler. I was thinking of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you got any hints as to where you're taking us next week?
Yeah, I'm going to try and find something because we have the Giro coming up. We have Liège, Bastogne Liège. It may be a Liège one, but if I can't find something that I find them all entertaining, but something on that same lines that I've been trying to keep within that 10-minute, but sometimes they go beyond that.
20 minutes is not. Come on, you can watch 20 minutes.
But if I find something good on Liège, I will. If not, because the Giro starts, I think, on the 8th of May or something. But first week or second week of May. So
our good buddy Brent says, if you haven't seen it, watch All for One, a full-length documentary on Orica Green Edge.
Yeah, I have watched it. Well, okay. We could make that the deal.
No, he's just saying that's
a good one.
So, Jackson, you got anything to sign out with before I do the final close?
Yes. Of course, follow us on all our social medias. Instagram, Facebooks, all that. And also tomorrow, after a now 2-week hiatus, the weekly ride will be back. So I have one edited and on the docket to shoot out on Instagram Live. So make sure to catch that.
I haven't done a coffee and comments in a while, and I feel bad about it.
Well, I told you I had something, and then you probably didn't have anything prepared.
Well, I do. In fact, I was going to do a bit from Coffee and Comments tonight. Here's a little hint. This is. I didn't want to embarrass you guys, but it would accompany.
Careful, you're going to get in trouble. You
I know.
Turn it off.
That's a hint for what's going to be on the next Coffee and Comments. I actually go full karaoke
oh, really?
on your ass. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have a song adaptation for it. Yeah. I was going to do that tonight. But it was just Paul in the room, and if I sang to him, people would be like,
no, I'd be grossed
like,
out.
The fuck?
Yeah. I'd start dry heaving.
Yeah. So there we go. And I do have to say that the orange bar tape's going to go. My new bar tape came in today.
Yay!
Yeah. Jackson's shaking his head. He disapproves.
It was good while it lasted. I like it.
It is black with little orange dots, though. I'm still got a little splash of color. So you won't hate it, but you won't love it, right? So there we go, everybody. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, join the team. You've only got a couple weeks left on that deal, because I'm going to close out the books on new team members, because I'm buying all the swag that I send out to you guys every 6 to 8 weeks, and I need to make sure that I get it all here and secure and things like that. And so the team Packfiller membership is only it's going to close out. The membership drive, so to speak, is going to close out at the end of April, and then it won't start back up until the fall. So if you plan on racing with us, if you plan on participating with us in any of our rides or groups, or even the special things on the show, you might want to do it soon. $250 value minimum for about $50-$60. So there you go. So jump on board now. Like, subscribe. I already said that. I guess that's it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jackson.
Good to be back again.
Yeah, it is, man. Now, wait. Next week, are you going to be in the studio, or 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks.
I'll be
back 2 times.
Whoa. So Jackson can monitor the live feed, because I can't do it very well. I'm not good at it. Thanks, you guys. That's out. Hold on.